right now. Moving on to the fourth aspect of his life, that is his youth, the early age, or after, when you are quite big enough to understand those things, so you call that era of yours as a youth. So how was he? Let's figure it out. Young Latif had a very sensitive mind while he was only a boy. He started composing poetry. Okay, so he had a sensitive mind. And he had already, in his youth, he had started composing poetry. His admiration for the beauty of nature filled his heart with the love of God. In 1713, the Sufi poet married with Bibi Saida Begum. His wife died at an early age before she could have any children. However, Shah never married again, and his heart turned more and more towards religion and devotion, and he felt restless. He found it difficult to live a normal domestic life. So this is a small brief information about his youth. The main information was that he has a sensitive mind and he started composing poetry. And after his wife's death, he never married again. He never married. Instead, he was having a restless life and he devoted himself towards God. That is Allah. So now we can figure it out that how he had a complete knowledge of Holy Quran and Hadith. Okay, moving on to the next aspect, that is the spiritual growth. Okay, Latif's love of God grew more and more to the extent that he found pleasure only in devotion. As a result, he spent more of his time in prayers and deep thinking. So he was having this restlessness come to an end when he found himself in the devotion, and he offered more of his time in prayers and deep thinking. Yes, this is very important. Thinking and observing. His spiritual power grew stronger with prayers and devotion, so much so that the people began to attract it towards him. Anyone who came to know him strongly, impressed by his gentle ways, and his followers increased day by day. So over here we can figure it out that his followers were increasing. People usually like his company. People were impressed by the knowledge that he had. Okay. Close to the mount on which Lal Latif came to live is a natural lake. His poetic nature loved the calm atmosphere. He would spend much of his time sitting on the bank of this lake. As he sat there, he prayed to God and sometimes composed verses in his praise. So this also talks about his writings. Now moving on to the fifth aspect of his life, that is death and remembrance. Okay. Lal Latif died in 1752 on the mount where he had lived. He was buried on the same mount. It is said that one day he ordered the musician to play music. They played continuously for 3 days. When they stopped playing, they found the poet dead. A famous king of Sindh, Ghulam Shah Kholro, was so devoted to him that he built a great mausoleum on his grave. The lovely white dome of the shrine represents the purity and dignity of Latif. So it is believed all the things were gathered by the oral tradition. So people told them that how they figured out that the poet was dead, that he ordered the musician to play music, and they were playing it for like 3 days. And when they stopped, they figured out that he died. And it was this person, Ghulam Shah Kholro. That he built a mausoleum, that is the shrine, on his place where he died. His devotees collected his poetry and his collection, and this collection is called the Risalo of Shah Abdul Latif. Every year, the devotees celebrate his Urs, with which commences on 14th Safar and lasts for 3 days. So, we have Urs on 14th Safar, and it lasts for at least 3 days. Okay. Now let's talk about his poetry and writing. Of course, because he was a famous Sindh poem, so let's figure it out that what did he actually produce. We have never read poetry in Sindhi, but we'll figure out what does his poems conveys actually. Shah Abdul Latif Bhai was a sensitive and gentle soul. We all know that. He was a Sufi in a true sense of the word. The word Latif literally means fine, delicate, tender, elegant, and light. This meaning is truly reflected in both his poetry and his personality. So he was gentle, calm, and kind. So this is what we can see the reflection even in his poetry, other than his personality. He was actually the poet of people, so he wrote that in the language of the common man. In his poems, he writes mainly about Sindh and its neighboring region. However, he also mentioned distant cities such as Istanbul and Samarkand, and also talks about Sindhi sailor Samundi, their navigation techniques, and their voyages as far as Malabar Coast, Sri Lanka, and the island of Java. Here is the translation of one such verse. Okay, so they have also given you the translation in the book of his verse. So basically, he talked about different regions as well, other than Sindh, and writing about the people. He also talked about distant areas. And region. Okay, whatever his poetry conveys, you can see and you can figure it out in the book. Let's figure it out. What does it talk about? His collected poems have been compiled in Shahjo Rasalo, which has been translated into English, Urdu, and other languages. His spiritual and mystic poetry carries a message of love, which makes it universal and acceptable to the entire human race. Shah Abdul Latif Bhai is and always be remembered for his great poetry with love and reverence. So finally, we come to an end. That what message does his poetry reflects? It talks about love for humanity, and this is still, it has been followed. Still, this message can be utilized in our daily lives. So this was the whole explanation of the topic, and you can see we have skimmed the reading, and we have figured it out what they have talked about and what they have told us about. They have covered all the 7 aspects. We have started off with the family, how did they migrated here, why did they migrate here. Then we talked about how did he get the name Bhai, then his early life and education, then his youth, then how did he spiritually grow, and when did he died, and what was his poetry, what did actually his poetry tells us about. So everything is covered in this chapter, so it's a complete package, and once you will read it, you'll understand everything, because everything there is very simple and easy to understand. So in the next video, we'll move on to the meanings of the difficult words. Okay, thank you.